This is the NTV Podcast. Bonus bit.
Earlier, we mentioned that Joe caught up with Mark Barnes, Secretary of Territory Pride. Mark is a dedicated advocate for local businesses and has been instrumental in promoting the Territory's entrepreneurial spirit. In their conversation, Mark shares his first-hand experience with one of the first EV chargers displayed here in the NT.
This is the NTV Podcast.
What sort of hats do you wear at the moment there, Mark? What sort of titles do you have?
Well, at the moment, I've been universally realised back into self-employment, but I'm focusing on my coaching business. I do life coaching and I support people in the community to realise their version of success. I'm on the boards, a couple of boards there, including Territory Proud, supporting local businesses and local not-for-profits to try to help them through their journeys. Really am all about just supporting this community. I've been here, all by 10 months of my life. So I've seen it from what it was to what it is, and I love the place. And it's, now's the time where I'm in a position where I can give back and really try to support that for the next generation.
Wonderful, yes. I've seen you around because you can say you're pretty much a born and bred Territorians as such there, Mark.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't born here, but definitely bred up here, 10 months. I say I was dragged up here kicking and screaming, which is probably right. But it was, born in the western suburbs of Sydney, so that's where I got my street cred. I was here since I was 10 months old, and since 1979, I've been in this magnificent town called Darwin. It's an amazing place, mate. There was a fantastic time, growing up here in the 80s. It was such an amazing feel of the community. It was an amazing place to grow up in, and we didn't have half the things that we had nowadays, but it was a special place, a special time. So lucky to be a part of that generation.
Yes, I also grew up in the 80s here as well. So I'm pretty much a 1980s boy as such. So we probably know a lot of Territorians as such growing up, and pretty much, it's a great place to live and great place to bring up a family as such. How have you found the Territory at the moment there, Mark? And what do you think? I noticed that you're on the beat and as such. What things that you like to share with your engagement with the Territory at the moment?
Well, currently, again, on the board of Territory Proud, so really supporting the community business, like Territory businesses, promoting the Buy Local campaign. We've had a really good year on that side of things in growth and sort of really adding value to what it is, that service that's been provided. It's been around for over 20 years. It's been a very well-known brand, and now really we're looking at stacking on and adding value to the members. It's a membership-based organisation, so really adding more value to that, working with government. It's been a standalone organisation for most of the years, but now really working again and collaborating with government to add real value to the business community, which is super exciting because we've got some amazing organisations up here and amazing companies, and a lot of them are trying to stay up to date with technology, and some get ahead of it, and it's really exciting. And if we can get that message out to the world via Territory Proud, then it's I'm more than happy to do so.
Excellent there, Mark. And I noticed that you were going out there and just chatting with the people and getting to know everybody and just doing the odd occasions. What do you feel like with the Territory where it's at this stage, especially in Darwin or Palmerston, with the socialites and stuff? You always hear the news there's another break-in as such for the Territory, or, it's not a great place to live and people are scared. And we have all the time, my father mentions about, these headlines in the newspapers. What do you think is going on at this stage?
Oh, mate, in all honesty, I think what we're experiencing now is a result of many years of compounding problems. Now, there's problems around town. We've got our challenges. I guess the parts that I focus in on is that this isn't a Territory exclusive problem. It's not exclusive to Darwin or Alice or Tannin or whatever it may be. This is a people problem, at a global scale. A quick scroll through socials, especially on Twitter, and you see that the challenges that we're facing here are being experienced on a worldwide scale. I think the beauty and the opportunity that we have within that is that being a small town, being so isolated from everywhere, and we do have an opportunity to create a positive impact. Even despite those challenges, we can create a change. It's going to take, sadly, it's taken a long time to get to where we are, but it's going to take a long time to get it to where we want to be. But if we can really start to make some inroads in there, really start to, tighten down on things that might have been a little bit too loose and support people through the root cause of the problems which are creating this experience for us, then I think there is an opportunity for improvement in there. And that's, we've got to do that. We've got to come together as a community, as a country, to really be able to improve this, because we all want it to be. And it's something that's high on a priority list. I know it's very high on a lot of the politicians and their priority list at the moment too, because we love the town. A lot of us have been here for a very long time and we love it. Probably the saddest thing I've seen is a lot of the long-term locals start to fall out of love with the place, which is so incredibly sad, because we do love it. It's an amazing town, but seeing these old-timers, long-term Territorians starting to lose that love for the town as a result of these challenges is so incredibly sad, because a lot of the time these people have made the town what it is. These long-term people, their families, they've been here for multi-generations. They've created this magnificent place called Darwin and into what it is now. And we need to really focus in on what it is that we want, not the things that we don't want. Because if we just focus on the negatives, we're just going to keep perpetuating that. We're just going to resist it. We're going to not be very happy about it whatsoever. But if we can look at the positives that can come from working through those challenges, I believe, we can be an amazing town and realize the potential I see and a lot of people see in this magnificent city of ours.
No, definitely, Mark. I always seem like I see the social media is always like when there's a subject on, they blow up by 10 times, they just, it's not something that we should be encouraging to do as such. We should always encourage to talk about the great stuff about living in the Territory and just do,
Definitely. Most definitely. And there's so much positive out there. It is a problem. It's a big problem. It impacts a lot of us. The reality is we are all victims of crime. If we look at it at a level, our livelihoods have been impacted by crime, whether we've been directly impacted by someone stealing having a bag snatched or breaking into a house, stealing our cars, whatever it may be, businesses being broken into. Ultimately, even if that hasn't happened to us, we're still victims of crime in the way of we don't have the livelihood that we have. We don't have the freedoms that we once had, even going back 10, 15, 20 years ago. We need to shop in a particular manner. Everything's behind closed doors. Everything's locked down. We've lost that freedom in our community to a certain extent, which is probably the worst thing to come out of all this experience, mate. So that's how I see it. It's sad to see it, but again, where there's challenge, there's an opportunity as well. So I like to focus on the positive aspects of things. I like to remind people there's so much more about this town of ours than the challenges and the problems that we're facing. And I just really try to celebrate that.
This is the NTV Podcast. Bonus bit.
And what's your positivity for 2025? What were your goals you put in place to make, the Territory a great spot to live in?
Oh, mate, it's 2025. Then it's going to be a big year. It's this year's forming out. I'm currently going through my processes of looking at what I can do for 2025. Really, doubling down with Territory Proud and what we're doing on that side of things to help the business community. On my coaching side of things, I've gone through looking at how I can support the next generation of kids with the Bear Cub Academy, which is all about helping kids to build resilience and tenacity they need to be able to overcome the obstacles in life, to remain true to themselves so they can ultimately achieve what they want to achieve. And then as on our side of things, working in the community as well, try to work with government as and businesses to be able to provide services and support to the community and to our kids to make sure that we're, on the path of continual improvement and we're actually going to get to somewhere, far greater than where we are at the moment. So it's pretty exciting, So coaching there, I've got business thing. I'm going to do a lot of content regarding, kids, supporting our kids. I've just done an ADHD coaching certification. So really helping people and parents navigating those challenges. I have a heap of content on that. On the business community, just that I built out a whole lot of content regarding, supporting businesses. Because Dan Bartel, I watch a lot of listen to a lot of his content, and I love his philosophy of that you give people everything that you got. You give them all the information, all the strategies, all the systems that you have. And if you want to charge people for it, you charge them for the implementation of it, to really support them through those things. And I love that philosophy, because the other way of holding on to things, drip feeding the information to everyone and hoping that they pay for everything else, it's a scarcity mindset way of going about things. And it doesn't achieve the impact that ultimately a lot of coaches like myself want to achieve, which is support as many people as possible in their journeys.
Got some great young Territorians out there, and I'm happy that you're exploring them and do some great things, and hopefully you can find some great Territorians to for our future generations to grow, to make this territory a great place.
Yeah, mate. I was at my son's primary school graduation last night, and it was to see all these kids, they're all dolled up, dressed up. It is that itself is just amazing to see how old they are and how far they've come, and but to in that moment there, sort of get sentimental and emotional about the fact that the potential that these young kids have and their lives that are coming, and, looking forward into their lives and what that may be. And ultimately it's about trying to create something and supporting them create something remarkable, because we do have some brilliant minds in this part of the world. Retention's a big thing. The town, again, was built on multi-generational families staying here. So we need to work towards keeping people in the territory. We need to keep them loving on the place, giving them things to do, keeping them occupied, keeping them entertained, and keeping them supported so they can go on their journeys and enjoy lives and, continue to make more babies and keep the family name going on in this region.
Excellent. And one of the things in early times I've got to know you there, Mark, I noticed that you before, you were doing some was the petrol and fuel as such. And I wanted to see what sort of industry was that, and what it's was, electric vehicles coming in now, and maybe potentially was hydrogen vehicles coming on board one day. How do you find out was the industry? What do you think it's going at the moment? What sort of words you got out from the industry, from the fuel as such?
Mate, it's really interesting, because by the time they're looking after the bulk fuels throughout the NT for United, it was, at that stage there was still big names, Shell, BP, all those United. They were looking at then what they needed to do to evolve into a company and organizations that will be supporting these changes in the technology in that industry, in the automotive industry. It's really exciting, and it's coming a long way, and it's coming leaps and bounds. It takes me back, I'd spent 20 plus years in the industrial supply side of things, distribution throughout the Northern Territory, warehouse, representation, distribution of industrial products throughout the NT. And it's, when was it? Back, it would have been, 10 years ago, something like that, when I was at NHP, where I'd had, we took the first electric charger, electric vehicle charger, down to a trade show at MM's in Alice Springs, and having it on display there, talking to the guys over the morning, having the bacon and eggs and having a chat about the products, and having the guys laugh at it, saying that EV chargers, they'll never be in Alice Springs. There's no point bringing that down here. They'll never need them. We're too far away from everything. And to now seeing where we are, the growth and the infrastructure throughout regional parts of Australia and the Northern Territory is really positive, and it's great to see. I think we've got a long way to go. We've come a long way. There's a lot of advancements that need to happen, but it's exciting, mate. It's really exciting.
And what sort of reception do you have from the people, with the Shells and BPs as such, when you go around the territory? Have there been a lot of positivities as such?
Yeah, typically, especially the ones, the big companies where they own their own service stations, they're focusing in on that, because obviously it's a point of concern for these big companies, but, and an opportunity as well at the same time. The smaller privately owned branded service stations throughout the Northern Territory, down in Tennant Creek or whatever it may be, they may have a big badge on there. They're typically very open, because they are local business people. They are invested in business in their regions, and they're very open to opportunities to value add the service from, internal combustion to electric vehicles. So, a lot of them are very open to be able to support what's required to maintain, the cars pulling up at their shops and spending some money inside as well. So it's really positive.
Yeah, definitely. We always think it's a great thing for businesses to have people, coming in shop, charging their vehicles, spend 15, 20 minutes or half an hour or so, or even longer, maybe staying overnight at these facilities, and, spending money where they can and providing local businesses, cash flow as such.
I remember reading some statistics years ago when it first started, that the average spend value of someone where they'd actually go to a venue or a shopping center or whatever it may be that had an EV charger with their, per hour, while they were charging, it was like $50 per person just by having that charger. And they were only there for a little bit. So they were actually getting more money. It was a financial reward for investing in this infrastructure. And I think moving forward, that's probably the challenge. And the opportunity is looking at where is this industry going. We know EVs are here. They're going to be here for stay. Governments have targets when it comes to their fleets. Now, how do we support that? Darwin, as an aging, we've got aging infrastructure up here. We're a microgrid. We're very limited in what we can really provide at a scale that we're probably shooting for, and how we're working through that's probably the exciting part to see as well, because it's something that needs to happen. I think we didn't have the infrastructure to support the solar on properties, let alone the infrastructure required for vehicles at that scale. So I'm sure there's people at the Department of Infrastructure working through there frantically to try to solve those problems before it becomes an issue. But it's exciting. It's to see where we're going. It's very exciting indeed.
Excellent, Mark. And just was Territory Proud as such? Can you give a bit more information about how that is and what sort of organisation it is, so we can let our viewers know?
Yeah, definitely. Territory Proud's a not-for-profit organisation. It was established over 21 years ago. Originally as a buy local campaign and a buy local advocate. And, Jeff Goodrich was in the helm at that stage, and he kept it on and ran it for many a year. It became a not-for-profit organisation really to support Territory businesses and for the community to be able to identify a Territory Proud business, which is someone that either was owned and employs local people. So they branded themselves with a Territory Proud sticker. So if you went to a shop and they had the Territory Proud sticker on there, or their logo with the Territory Proud with their logo, you knew that you were actually supporting a Territory-based business that employed Territorians. And it was a fantastic campaign, and it's been going a long time. And I'm been honoured now to just start my second term with the board, to be able to support Territory businesses in their journeys, really looking at how we can provide value back to them and really get that message out to the community of supporting Territory businesses. Because, the circular economy, if we can keep the money flowing around our town and our territory, then we all prosper. But if it goes interstate, goes overseas, then it's money lost, and it's an opportunity lost as well.
Excellent. And was any business that are interested in Territory Proud, what are the benefits for them, and how can they join?
Yeah, we've got, look at the territoryproud.com.au. You can register via there. It costs like $150 a year for a small business. We are reviewing the current categories. So, if you're a solopreneur, if you want to support it, you can. But you can register via that. We give you a starter pack. You have access to the Territory Proud brand. So you can put that on your website. You can put that on your vehicles, put it on your uniforms. We have networking events which are coming through frequently for that. We have opportunities there where we'll go to industry luncheons, and people will be able to join us at industry lunches. If you attend a networking event, you can go out there and have a bit of a pitch at the end of it. We have an opportunity to say who you are and what you do. You have a look at an opportunity, then you get your name drawn out of a hat. And if we have a table somewhere at one of the industry events, then you have a chance to win a seat at those as well. So for the sake of $150, it's incredibly affordable. It gets you surrounded by other business owners in the Northern Territory. And it's a incredible value for what it is that you get. We're looking to even stack more value to that in the 2025. So territoryproud.com.au is by far the best way to check it out and to sign up today.
Magnificent there, Mark. That sounds like a great initiative you guys are doing at Territory Proud as such.
This is the NTV Podcast. Bonus bit.
Was there anything else you wanted to add? Anything there? Anything extra flavour to the territory? Or anything you wanted to say?
And I think it's an amazing place that we live in. We're blessed with many a thing in this part of the world, mangoes being one of them. But it's really an exciting time for the territory. We've got so much potential in this place, and when it comes to really grasping technologies and EVs, it's really, really exciting to be able to do this. I think now it's looking at things and having platforms like yourself and these podcasts and getting the message out to the greater community to drive that dialogue and to have that community engagement, to have that feedback, to find out what it is that we as individuals need to do to support it, what we can do, what the opportunities are for us, what the government, what the councils need to do to support it. I put my hand up for council last time round, and it was like the by-election, and it was, purely to go through that process because I believe about supporting the community and creating really positive spaces for the community. And council's a fantastic way of doing that. So how do we need to engage council to invest in the infrastructure that we need to support these goals and these advancements in technology? How do we need to engage the government to be able to get the investment that we need to do this? The infrastructure, what do we need to do to work through those challenges as well? But it's a really exciting time for the territory. I love seeing it. I've been here and I've seen it from the first EV chargers to when I did my graduate certificate supply chain management. I did a group task on autonomous vehicles. That was fascinating. Paul from Paul's service center in Repco, when he got his first Tesla, and even if you went in there for a rego check, you'd end up in his car and he'd take you for a spin because he was getting it ahead of what it was and what it meant for the industry and then how they could position themselves as service agents as such for electric vehicles. Ray from Dice looking at alternatives to power walls because the challenges that we have with lithium in extreme environments. Now, and even getting the shout out by the Prime Minister at the time, Malcolm Turnbull, at Question Time, it's fantastic. We've got Tesla taxis possibly coming, we've got autonomous vehicles, we've got driver assistance systems. With all of these things that are going to highlight the opportunities and the potential, they're going to be amazing, but it's how do we work through all of these things together as a greater community to realize the maximum benefits from this? And, it's where we are to Australia technologically, probably, what Australia is to places like China. And we need to be able to really rapidly adopt to these emerging technologies and get up to that speed, because I've got a mate in China that sent me a link for the NEO 4th generation power swap stations, where we've got things like service stations where rather than going in and filling up, at the same time the tank could actually go in and fill up. You buy the car, but the batteries are owned by the company. You drive this vehicle into one of these power swap stations. It takes the batteries out, replaces it with another one. It charges you for the difference in the charging, whatever's left. So if you had 25% of your charge left on the battery that you're dropping off, you'd only get charged for 75% of the full one. So those sort of things we really need to be able to adopt. We need to be able to invest in. And that highlights the opportunity, mate. So I'm super excited to see what's coming, to be a part of this journey. And it's, the automotive industry's version of the Atari 2600 evolving into the PlayStation 5. It's really, really exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it's coming and where it's going.
Lovely there, Mark. We do love these podcasts. We do love chatting with the local Territorians and get a bit of a feel and just to see what people are talking about in the top end, in the Territory, from Darwin to Alice Springs, anywhere in particular, just to get a bit of an insight of what's happening around town and just to take the time, sometimes it might be too rushed to, listen to the morning shows on the radio or just to, they haven't enough time to listen to the news as such. Just when they got a bit of time, we can chat with the local Territorians and just give them a bit of a good feel what's happening in the Territory.
Oh, it's amazing what you're doing, mate. Hats off to you for doing it and for getting the community engaged and to get the community involved and to getting that message out there. It's much needed, and because when we can come together, when we can work through these things, magic happens, and it's a result of things like this that happens. So hats off to you, mate.
Thank you for joining the NTV podcast there, Mark.
My pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
A big thank you once again to Mark for joining us and providing such valuable insights. Find out what they're all about, territorypride.com.au.